All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to bring you Dignitas Select. He is in the blue trunks, and he is playing Terran to the northwest of the Entombed Valley. Versus his opponent, it is Eclypsia's Welmu, who has currently taken one game back for his team, the last man standing. He is in the red, playing Protoss to the southeast.
Yeah, and I gotta talk about Select a little bit. I mean, this is a guy who had, for a while anyway, some of the best ghost control in StarCraft 2. I mean, if you go back and watch some of his GSL Code A matches, actually, from last year, it is so good. He's kind of gotten away from that to a little bit. He's always been very good at drops, but I really hope we get to see some Select ghost play. He's got such good EMP control. Really can make a big difference in this matchup, obviously, right now, where Terrans are kind of suffering a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. And the problem with Ghosts, I suppose, in this matchup at the moment is that for the longest time they were the dominant force in TVP, without question. And then EMP got nerfed.
Yes.
And then they figured out, well, since the metagame's kind of shifting towards big mass chargelet builds from the Protoss side of things, well, Snipe's really good. So let's use that. So they nerfed that.
Yes.
So you've got a reduced range EMP. You have a Snipe that really only does damage now to psionic armor types. So it takes out High Templar, and that really is about it.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really do a huge amount otherwise. So you're in this really nasty, awkward spot where you think, well, what do I do with my Ghosts? And is Ghost really a good investment? Because if you go Ghost and your opponent tech switches back to Colossus, you are in a really nasty position.
Yeah, I mean, TVP is one of those matchups that people really like to talk about lately. Actually, on my show before the cast Build Order Breakdown, we looked at Polt versus Creator from Fight Club earlier in the week to specifically look at that later game TVP situation. A lot of people are saying Terran is very strong in the mid game, that they're overpowered, and that's when they need to do damage to be able to win games. But it's not quite as simple as that. Terran seems very strong in the mid game, but a lot of that is because of that Protoss PvT metagame right now, which has a lot of Protoss specifically playing for the late game, so they have smaller armies, they're getting upgrades and teching a lot more aggressively, which to a certain extent, although Terran is strong in the mid game, seems to make them more strong than they really are, I think, too. So Terran's got some options in the late game, like what we saw from Polt earlier in that show. You know, he actually waits for a long time to get Ghosts. He didn't have Ghosts till like the 19-minute mark in his game in Fight Club, and the reason he was able to get away with that is because he was just so good at positioning, basically poking here and there, not wasting any units, just kind of giving himself the time to expand, get a lot of bio stuff out, and then later in the game just adding on a few Ghosts to be kind of selectively EMPing here and there while he kind of picks apart that big Protoss death ball. And that's a great way to play late game TVP, I think.
Indeed. We'll see if that actually ends up happening this time around on this particular map. Select going for the 1-Rax expand, followed by the 2-Rax, and Select famously favors bioplay in pretty much every matchup. He hugely into it, very fast player, Marine Marauder, Medevac, very micro-heavy, highly aggressive most of the time.
Yeah, and that's kind of really what he's been able to make a career on. I mean, he's one of those players that has the micro to be able to pull something like that off. You see a lot of other players try to play that aggressive game, but if you don't have the unit control, you're kind of just going to end up looking kind of bad because your Marines and Marauders are going to just move in and die. But Select's one of the people that can definitely pull that off.
Yeah, now he's going to go aggressive to start with. I love the fact that he does this. He often pokes up very early with a small force of Marines. Can do a decent amount of damage. Like, he kills a Stalker and a Sentry. That's pretty much worth it right there, especially if he takes a Sentry out and maybe he takes a probe or two. And he feels like he's got the control for it. He'll often try to actually bunker, get some nice information in the process. And he is able to keep that SCB alive just for a little bit longer as a couple more gateways come down the background after the Robo, which is very curious there. And now we're going to see that little poke up the ramp. No point in it being there at the moment, though.
Yeah, Select. Oh, man, he's
still
going in.
Oh, miscontrol by Welmu right there.
Wow, big time. Killing a probe and a Sentry. That is
totally
so worth it. Yeah, running away. It looks like he will lose all these Marines, and he knows that he can't outrun that Stalker, can't outmicro it, so he's going to go ahead and try to focus on another probe. He gets one.
That was
and if he
so
gets a
worthwhile.
Third, oh, wow. He just killed, I believe, wow.
He's killed 6.
Has he killed that many, really?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess one scout died, so he killed 5.
Yeah.
5 probes and a Sentry for an investment of 5 Marines. And this is why he does this. He consistently gets success with this early aggression. Like, I've got 5 Marines. For another player, 5 Marines is not a huge amount, unless, of course, you happen to be Marine King. But for Select, like, well, I've got 5 Marines. I'm going to get in there and, yeah, that's a really fast Colossus tech up right here.
Extremely fast. Hiding it as well. I mean, if you scan in a normal place, which would be around here, you'll see a couple of gateways in a robo, which isn't all that weird, you know? But, yeah, this is going to change everything. Welmu definitely going for, well, not definitely, but probably, we'll say, going for a very, very quick 2-base Colossus play, the type of thing that StarTale Squirtle did so well with at IPL4 and so well with in the GSL as well. That's a lot of wells in that sentence, but you get the idea.
We're building many wells here.
That's
so
right.
much delicious StarCraft water will be given to
Welmu.
the poor of this world. Whatever the case, Select now being scouted out by that observer, and the timing looking pretty good here for Welmu. He knows that his opponent's only just started his starport, hasn't got any Vikings out yet, and most likely won't, unless he lands a really lucky scan, which you probably won't at this stage. He's most likely going to at least go to 2 medevacs, possibly to 4, considering his medevac heavy play. And if he does that, he's going to be in a horrible spot.
Yeah, this is actually quite a good counter build by Welmu here, kind of playing against his opponent's style, I guess you could say. Oh, but here's the stem. Welmu not paying attention
too
again.
Slow. Too slow.
Oh, man.
Select is just firing out of the blocks here on all cylinders and takes out all of those sentries, forcing a pull from the mineral line. This may also force the Colossus to be revealed early, but yeah, that might end up happening, actually. That would be horrible.
Well,
he's going to have to reveal the Colossus.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, killing all those gateway units, that basically ends Welmu's push right there. He's going to need to come up with a new plan, because you cannot do the type of push that Welmu wanted to do after losing all those sentries, all those gateway units. Welmu in huge, huge trouble right now. I can't believe it. That 2 big kind of miscontrols, not really even miscontrols, just not paying attention by Welmu
he just wasn't
at a critical
enough.
moment.
Select's too fast. It's as simple as that. And what we've got Select doing now is adding on a second starport and expanding again, because he knows that what you just said is absolutely correct. His opponent can't do that kind of push anymore. So what does his opponent do? Well, he's not got any upgrades, which is definitely not helpful, because Select has already been working on them. He's now working on +1 armor. He's pretty much finished Marine Shield as well. He's in a wonderful position to deal with Colossi. So does Select push now and actually try and end the game? He's gonna try it. He's gonna keep prodding and poking, and every time he's engaged, he's done so very, very well.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, Select is in one of those great positions that you can be in sometimes in TVP, where even though they have Colossi, you've got enough bio and medevacs that you can actually just jump in and kill everything. And Select definitely has a possibility to do that. Oh, this is really nice, though, by Welmu having that observer there. Oh, I think Select spotted
he sees
it, though.
it. He sees it. He knows. He will try and catch it, and he's able to do so.
Very
nicely done. Good pick up there. And wow, that's a very high one. Really? Wow, that's
brave,
dicey.
Welmu.
These are going to have to be good force fields.
That's brave, Welmu. You need to be able to control well enough. Select, though, I'd say making the right decision. I mean, yeah, he maybe would have been able to pick off a Colossi, but it just wasn't worth it. He knows he's ahead. He's got his 3rd base on the way. He's got his opponent playing very, very defensive at this point. He's got his upgrades going as well. So, yeah, Select in no hurry at all to end the game. A push, could do damage, but better to play it safe, right? When you're ahead, get more ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Harass, and get scouting information as well, because there's the Twilight Council, so we're going to be seeing that Templar switch most likely at some point. Or we could see Funky DT play, all sorts of possibilities here. But one way or the other, he needs the flexibility to transition out of this. He can't stay on Colossus. It just doesn't work out, especially with 2 starports from his opponent.
Yeah, absolutely, though. I love... This is so great. This is actually... I feel like we're kind of seeing a new side of Select, because the old Select would have just immediately jumped in the medevacs. Yeah, he would have immediately jumped in the base. But Select here showing some uncharacteristic patience, I gotta say, and some really good patience in a way. So that's going to help him do even better. Uh-oh, Probe versus SCV.
Well, it's okay. He's got a couple of buddies next to him, so that's been dealt with. Blink coming in. Not a bad decision, honestly, considering that he's going to be going up against a lot of Vikings. If he wants to stay on Colossus, then he will need the ability to pick those Vikings off rapidly. The problem I've got with that at the moment is that his upgrades aren't really there yet to make that work. And there's 4 Vikings coming out at a time. So it's an interesting decision there by Welmu. We'll see if it pays off for him.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit curious. I mean, obviously he did need to kind of change some things up. What he was planning wasn't going to work, but I don't know if this is quite it. You know, I mean, Select, of course, known for his drop play, so I almost wonder if a different Protoss player would have maybe tried switching for Templar tech as well, instead of just kind of going for Blink to defend against drops and going for those double Forge upgrades. It's not that he made a wrong decision, it's just a little bit surprising, I gotta say.
Yep, there's a drop coming down right here to try and deny the third, and should be able to do that. There's the cancel and quick pick up and go. No Blink available yet. A nice snipe, at least takes one there. Reasonable trade nonetheless, but Select rolling forward quite nicely with this economic juggernaut. Those upgrades are starting to look just a little bit scary as well, adding the +1 ship weapon on, which I'm really liking. Admittedly, Welmu can catch up. He's now building the Templar Archives looking for that trade, and at just that time we get the Ghost Academy coming down as well.
Yeah, Select has got his timings just absolutely nailed down. It's not even so much timings at X number of minutes we're going to see Welmu get a Templar Archives. It's more, all right, I know what I just forced my opponent to do. I know what he's thinking, and when you're in your opponent's head like that, you can really, really make good decisions in terms of when to go for your next tech. The 4 Colossi are a bit of a worry. That's a lot of damage coming out very, very quickly, but the Viking count should be high enough. We'll see. Oh, nice Blink.
There it is, and that's what it's for, to try and shut that down, and it is able to do so, doing a hell of a lot of damage to it. So I'm really loving this right here by Welmu. He keeps most of his Colossi alive. The second reinforcement coming instantly jumps on top of them. Really nice play here by Welmu. He's still got 2 Colossi.
Oh, man, I can't believe Select actually let his Vikings die like that. That is going to be a huge problem. Needs to make a run for it, and now Welmu deciding he might just be able to potentially end the game right here. We'll see.
I don't know. +2/+2's coming in. This is
a brave move.
Yeah, it's going to be dodgy one way or the other if he gets in there just before that upgrade finishes, but it's about to kick in. This could be a nasty counter push happening as a result of Select. There's the nice block off right there with the force field. Good cleanup coming in. Good force field placement. One way or the other, this is hurting Select badly.
Yeah, no kidding. He's losing a ton of SCVs, but the Colossi, getting surrounded from the back. Select, nice micro with the SCVs, minimizing the damage. He kills everything. Welmu way overextending.
But how much damage was done, more to the point? Let's have a look. 26 workers is not bad. That is really put him back in that position that he needs to be. He's got his 3rd secured right now, so I can see why he did that. He was out in the middle of nowhere, do the damage necessary to make that push work. Maybe they consider the transition, as we can see here, looking for Zealot Archon by the looks of it.
The question is, was it efficient enough? I mean, with the mules, if we look at the worker count, it's 60 to 44, so 44 SCVs. That seems like a big deficit, but with the mules, Select may actually be okay with this.
Possibly.
If we look at supply, he's still ahead. He's got great production going, and the upgrades, man. Oh, yeah, and that's a great thing to look at as well. Look at that. Resources lost actually higher for our Protoss player.
Yeah, that's what I was really concerned about. Was it efficient? By the looks of it, no. A lot of gas-heavy units. Admittedly, Vikings are fairly gas-heavy too. He lost a lot of those, but a lot of gas-heavy units thrown away there by Welmu in trade for workers, which I suppose makes sense when you've had your 3rd denied for so long, but I don't know if it was entirely worth it. It certainly did damage, but I'm scared right now for Welmu. Welmu's in this transition phase, looking to transition to Zealot Archon, doesn't have charge yet. Going for +3/+3, and upgrades have equalized as a result, but that 3rd's under great threat once again. This is a nice little angle right here for Select. I'm liking it an awful lot.
Yeah, no kidding. Select in great positioning here. I think you're right.
Can't kill a Colossi, though.
Well, there's just... Yeah, I guess so. I mean, the gateway units, I thought Select was going to be able to tear through them a little bit faster. Maybe he still is, but no, the Colossi on the high ground doing tons of damage. Wow, Welmu holds off Select yet again, and both players potentially getting a little bit too aggressive. The trading hasn't been really that great for either of them. Oh, those Colossi, what are they doing?
That's probably not the best place to be, and Select's looking for vengeance right now, trying to bring them down, and he takes down one, looking at the stim in for the second one. He gets it, nicely done there by Select. I'm kind of surprised that Select hung around for as long as he did. He had a good position initially, but that kind of relied on him being able to get to the Colossus, and charge kicked in at just the right time there for Welmu, so he couldn't get close. But one way or the other, Select is continually hammering his opponent. He has 4 bases now. He's putting his opponent under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, Welmu's going to have a very hard time taking his 4th with this. And, you know, whenever Select attacks, it's kind of that position where Welmu has kind of this mismatch of units, right? It's never a complete army. You know, it's always a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And so when they trade, Select has been kind of coming out on top, even though he hasn't been able to get any real big economic damage. He's always been able to kill those expensive units, and if anything is going to really kind of keep SeleCT in the game at this point and give him that advantage that he needs to win, it's going to be that.
Yeah, let's see how it does. A very small ball of units for Welmu at the moment. SeleCT's army looking just a little bit scarier right here. Supply count-wise, SeleCT with a fairly significant lead has replenished his work account. Fourth coming down. Now, SeleCT's going to want to deny this, if at all possible, and he spots the pylon going down, spots that. This is kind of time where SeleCT needs to be thinking, I have got to stop that fourth base going up.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, if he sees there's only one Colossi and 2 Archons, he may just decide to go for it, because look at this. Huge army here for SeleCT, well, large enough anyways. Got a couple Ghosts. I love that, not overcommitting to Ghosts. He knows the Colossus count is low, so Marauders in general are going to be a little bit better of a choice for SeleCT right now, and he's just going to be waiting a little bit. Cloak is going to be really helpful to get those perfect EMPs off. Welmu, though, has a pretty strong army as well, but it just seems like the production for SeleCT is just out of control right now.
It really is, because Welmu hasn't been able to really do anything to it. That one push, yes, it hurt workers, but it didn't kill production buildings, so things are going a bit crazy for SeleCT at the moment. He can continually replenish at a high rate. His upgrades are superb. He's even working on +3 ship weapon, not an upgrade we often see, which means that any attempt to transition back to Colossus, which is actually happening right now, it's not going to work very well. All he needs to do is quad pump Vikings from those 2 starports, and those Colossi will melt. Here we go once again with the engagement here. The Stalkers actually filtering the Zealots so that they do not efficiently engage here at all. I'm not liking that, because this Stim's going to come forward, and those Stalkers are about to melt. EMPs landing on all sides. The army gets absolutely crushed.
Absolutely crushed. SeleCT just taking this out, no problem. He might not even kill the 4th base. In fact, I think SeleCT might go for the win here. He's got the advantage. Kills the last Colossus. Oh, man, he's going to play it safe, but there's a GG anyway.
That is it.
SeleCT wins.
Takes it for Team Dignitas right there. Many people consider